Guys, the movie is hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing, especially the bar scene where you guys are singing into the breadsticks. How much fun was it making this movie?
It was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was just the best environment to really just play in, and I think that's where we both thrive.
Talking about playing in the environment, how much improvisation made it into the movie?
I think a lot. Yeah, because it was us, and then there was Regina in the back. And, like,
That's right. Yes, Regina was really great because she was an EP as well in terms of like pitching hilarious lines for us to say. And then, of course, we just got to play ourselves. But a lot of the improv made it into the movie for sure.
Yeah.
Comic timing was perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Regina, you are hilarious as Jordan in this movie.
Thank you.
I couldn't stop laughing in some of the scenes.
Jordan is out of her mind.
How much fun was it making this movie?
Oh, it's so much fun to be able to play a character that's outrageous, and unapologetically outrageous. And so, yeah, it was great. You know what I mean? It's kind of like just the perfect setup for little Jordan to need to go little, obviously, and to kind of have that, arc that she does. And it was great to play opposite Issa. I didn't get to play opposite Marsai, obviously, but it was great to play opposite everyone else.
Well, how much impromptu stuff was added into the script?
Well, it was great, like all the stuff actually a lot of it, like all the insane stuff in the office was impromptu, like the pushing of the chair, the licking of the apple, and...
So that was you improvising?
Yeah, because I thought just the speech isn't enough for them to have that kind of fear because the girl was on Xanax. So you've got to have a boss that's like, afraid. Because I was like, well, what would make you afraid to be able to speak your ideas? And so, yeah, I just played with it. It was really fun to push the chair. And I actually couldn't push it, so that's why I kicked it. Yeah. And they were great about, like, all the actors just, they didn't know it was coming at first. But they were so great.
Now, we've had body swap movies before, like Freaky Friday and Big, the list goes on. But what made you think, Marsai, that it was time for another body swap movie? And what inspired you to pitch this movie at 10 years old?
Well, you see body swap movies all the time, but you don't see it in this way. So it's not even the body swap part that is like the cool part about it. It's more of the black girl magic in this film because you never see it in this light before. And of course, having a great cast with Issa Regina by our side was amazing. And I think that's what makes the movie of like just what it is. It's just black girl magic all around.
And congratulations on being the youngest ever executive producer in Hollywood history on a feature film.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks.
So what was it about this script that made you want to executive produce it for the first time ever? And how was it working with the youngest executive producer, Marsai, ever in Hollywood history?
Yeah, I think that was a part of it too, Marsai. Just coming up at 10 years old with this pitch and, being able to support her, in that, like, up-and-coming generation. And a movie for young kids, a lot of the movies, like, obviously, Girls Trip, those movies aren't for that demographic, but it's been great to make something that young girls can be inspired by. And, I love Issa. I'm a big fan of her and a big fan of, I've worked with Will. I love Tina, so it was kind of like almost like a family homecoming. And, to be able to come together and kind of create something that, had that little feeling of magic, that I would have liked to watch if I were a child.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of black girl magic, we see it in the movie where Jordan is transformed back into a teenager, but I feel like it also happened with this movie on a wider perspective with the people that are involved, being executive producer and behind the scenes. Do you feel like that as well?
Yes. Being an executive producer, I think it's fun right now because it's more of a learning process for me right now because, of course, Little is the first thing that I have as an EP, but I'm excited for many more, so I'm excited.
And Issa, how would you describe how the relationship between April and Jordan changes throughout the movie?
I think what April needed throughout the movie was to stand up for herself, and she was so intimidated by Big Jordan that it really literally took the magical spell of her boss being turned into a little girl for her to have the courage to tell her about herself and to express her grievances. And in doing so, it made little Jordan more vulnerable, and we got to see them really finally have an honest conversation with one another, where they got to put all pretenses and fears aside to bond, and they realized they needed each other more than they knew.
Would you say it's almost like a blessing in disguise, the body swap for Jordan?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you saw Grown Up Jordan. Jordan needed a body swap because she didn't have any friends except homegirl. We don't even know why D-Boy stayed around, you know, Trevor. But yeah, I think she did. I mean, what a gift it would be to be able to go back and have that kind of insight that would make your life better and then make who you are better.
And going to school these days for kids, there's a lot of bullying, and it's kind of been exacerbated by social media these days. So what advice do you have on how to deal with bullies?
Yeah, I mean, bullies are everywhere, and I think the way that I've dealt with bullies is just to continue to be myself, to also surround myself with people that accept me for me, and honestly, you just can't give them energy. You always have to, sometimes I would just question what they were going through, because bullies are obviously being, you know, in many cases traumatized either at home or elsewhere. So for me, it's about trying to be understanding, and if that doesn't work, then run away.
Yeah, I think that's what they want too, is like the attention, and to say like, I did this and it affected her in this type of way. I feel like that's what they want.
Absolutely.
But if you don't give any energy to it, then they won't bother you in my way. So
Yeah. This movie shows a lot of bullying and how it can affect people. And Bill Gates once said, "Be nice to nerds, one day you'll end up working for them." But when Jordan grows up, she's a bit of a bully. So what's your advice on how to deal with bullies?
I know, a lot of times we repeat patterns, right? You know, I just think you have to know that, you know, hurt people, and I think a lot of times we think bullies have a lot of power, but the truth is maybe they emotionally are the weakest. And to keep that in mind before you feel like you need to change who you are.
Now, if you could body swap or trade places with someone for just one day, from the past or present, who would it be?
Rihanna.
oh my God, I was gonna say that.
Were you really?
Rihanna.
What do you want to be Rihanna for right now? You too young to be Rihanna. Nope.
That's not allowed.
That's not allowed. Nope.
Age appropriate body swap.
Yes. Limits. You can be like Barbie. You can
Stop.
Be body swap with
Barbie. No, Rihanna, I'm sticking her.
She would definitely be a fun one.
Look, if I changed her, next thing you know, you see me in a turtleneck. You see me like all covered up and stuff. Like, who is she?
I might do Mother Teresa. I can't imagine what it would be like to be that kind of, you know, like selfless being. And she kind of lived a great life. Or a hooker. You know, gotta see what that'd be like for a day. And not like a high class one, like a streetwalker. You know what I mean? One where you're like, wow, this is what it is. I made 20 off a hand job and now I gotta go do it again. I mean, it'd be quite opposite of Mother Teresa if I could do both. Starting with the hooker. I don't
You've gone
wanna
from one extreme to the
Yeah,
other.
I don't want to go from the Mother Teresa to the hooker. That would feel wrong. But that, working your way up would be, yeah.
Finally, what would you like audiences to take away from watching this movie?
I think it's just fun. It's all in fun and in love and support of Black women. There's so many cool people in the film that involves in the movie. Which is so inspiring to me and young Black girls or anybody to look up to. So I think that's it.
and just the female empowerment overall. It's really just behind the scenes, in front of the camera. Like, there's just so much female power in general, and it's even throughout the storyline. I think women encouraging each other ultimately is a message that we want to get across. So hopefully you laugh and you find your group of women to love on.
In making this movie, was there anything that you learnt about being a kid again that you'd forgotten now that you're an adult?
No, but it was certainly nice to watch Marseille and just see kind of, it's refreshing, you know what I mean? Like, I think being a kid now is so different than it was when I was young. But I mean, there's such a beautiful energy that kids have that's so, hopeful and incredibly, like, it's not skewed yet. And I think, like watching it and, watching how much fun they have, and how, there's an unawareness that you have as a child that I think was kind of lovely to see.
Well, Picasso says every child's an artist until they grow up.
Ah, I love
So
that.
interesting.
I love that. That's kind of profound.
Well, thank you so much
Thank
for talking
you
to Hey
so
You
much.
Guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey, you guys!